Ah yes, the trek continues to amass all 13 of the original 13 primes. And thanks to good friend of the channel Input, I am now able to add one more. One more that I had no idea how I was actually going to be able to add. No, one more that I didn't know how I was going to get all the parts because he was a BAF across all of the Cyberverse Deluxes. I'm talking of course about Maccadam, who we all now know is none other than Alchemist Prime himself. How good did this BAF turn out? How good is this as an Alchemist Prime? Well, we're about to find out when we focus on him in the latest GotBot True review. Hey there once again guys, I'm your host, your most humble host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always man, please like, comment, share, of course subscribe, and while you're at it, light them up baby, and hit that notification bell please. It helps me out a ton and let you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, Transformers Collectors NL, The Autobot Family, Transformers vs. G.I. Joe vs. DC Universe vs. Marvel, Autobot City Central, and all of my social media links. All of those are in the description down below. Plus, if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon, see what we offer to you through Teespring, or of course you can hit the join button right here on YouTube. And this, thanks to Input, is a very important addition to my lineup for the original 13. This is the Maccadam from Cyberverse. This is none other than Alchemist Prime. And as soon as I saw this guy announced, I was excited and said, yep, I instant want him. And then I found out he was going to be like bits, parts of him were going to be included with all of the deluxes from Wave 1 and Wave 2 as a BAF. And I was very disappointed because I didn't need the others, as I've said many times. And here, each of them was going for 30 plus tax. I'm sure they're great, but that's an awful big investment to get a little guy like this. To my knowledge, this is the only version we have of Alchemist Prime at all. For somebody like me trying to amass a lineup of the 13, this was extremely important to nab. So big thanks to Input for this. If you don't know Input, check them out. N-PUT. Look, I know that a lot of people will know this guy's Maccadam, but I kind of know that Maccadam is sort of the facade for none other than, of course, Alchemist Prime. Yes, he doesn't really transform, but as soon as I got him in hand, the first two things I wondered and thought about was, A, how is he going to match up with the rest of the team that I already have? And B, is there some sort of fan mode thing maybe I could come up with? Sorta? Kinda? Well, we're about to find out when we head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. And here we are, one step closer to amassing my version of the 13. I want to again give a huge shout out, and I've done it a couple of times now, but a huge shout out to Input for hooking me up with the Cyberverse Deluxe class Build-A-Figure of Maccadam, who, spoiler alert, is Alchemist Prime, one of the original 13. And it's the only, like, real version we have of an Alchemist Prime. I didn't want it as Maccadam. I wanted it to be part of my 13 lineup. As imperfect as it might indeed be. I wasn't in for the Cyberverse Deluxes, really. Not because they're bad. I mean, I've said it before. The Megatron, the Optimus, the Bumblebee, the Grimlock, the Hot Rod, though he has a lot of red, the RC, and Thunderhowl, and I feel like there might be one more that I'm forgetting. They're great. Like, it's been a really, maybe two more I'm forgetting, I don't know. It's been a really impressive line, considering where Cyberverse started. And I said a long time ago, man, look, the Cyberverse line's not good, and then they really improved it and blew it into the ballpark. I'm not a huge fan of the BAFs. I've seen it like in Marvel Legends and stuff. I'm not a huge fan of it because you are, you know, to get what you want, you have to get all of these characters that you really don't want. And for me, here, to get all the parts to make this guy, each one of those deluxes was 30 bucks a pop plus tax. So we were talking about $240 plus tax just to get Maccadam. That's insane. Why didn't I go in for the other ones? I'm not a guy who has the space or the interest in having a bunch of doubles. I don't need another Shockwave. I don't need another Bumblebee or Megatron or Optimus. I don't need another RC or another Grimlock or even another Hot Rod. The only one I would have had any interest in at all would have been Thunderhowl. and that would have only given me, I believe, the head of this guy. So I'm really, really thankful that I was able to be hooked up with him anyway. In terms of what this guy comes with, well, I guess technically he comes with this. While it's one of the parts, this spiky battle hammer thing, I guess you could call it an accessory. I wish it had a little more paint. I might add some details eventually myself. We shall see as time goes on. And so here we have Maccadam himself, or as I'm going to herefore call him, Alchemist Prime. In terms of the paint apps, well, based on the animation from Cyberverse, I'm going to say that this is pretty good. It's a solid 9 for sure. I mean, there could be a little bit of blue on the shoulders like we have on his kneecaps and with his chest and whatnot, and on his forearm for that matter. Maybe the tires that are on him, they could have some added details, so it's pretty good. I'll say, you know, his tummy could have some more black detailing, but it's not bad. I'm going to say, as I said, it's for sure solid 9. It's funny he comes with a battle axe thing because he's kind of a peaceful guy. And that's one part. The head is another part. The upper torso is a third part. The lower torso is a fourth part. Each of the arms are 2 more parts and the 2 legs are 2 more parts. That's my understanding. So in terms of coloration, 9, great. Transformation, 0. The guy cannot transform. Now, I suppose if you're like me, this kind of harkens back to Action Masters. Like, this very much harkens back to Action Masters. Since Alchemist Prime was one of the original 13, I don't think he had the ability to transform anyway, so I kind of don't care. Yes, I know off screen he did it in the show. So, I don't know, I guess you could always, if you really want, you know, let's do something like this. We'll put the legs down there kind of together. Maybe we could, here, we'll turn that like that, and let's see, we'll take these down, there you go, like, oh, that's not good. Like, not that this is a good alt mode, but like, I don't know, you do something like that maybe? Maybe you could even, maybe you could turn the torso around that way and turn the head. Oh, I can't really turn the head around all the way around there. I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. If you really want, like, we'll say that's an alt mode. Well, it's not, but we'll say it is. Why not? Standing the guy back up, I'm just gonna get him in order here again, and then we'll look at his articulation, which definitely is very impressive. Okay, so we have a 9, we have a 0. What about that articulation? Well, the head is on a ball joint. It can go like wiggle left and right. It can't really look much up and down. It can look left and right, but eventually it sort of seems to butt up against the collar, but that's okay. The arms are on ball joints that are quite tight. They go all the way around at the shoulder, all the way out. We have a pretty deep elbow bend, no, it's 90, maybe a little over 90. Maybe a few degrees over 90. We have a bicep swivel. We have a wrist swivel, which is also a nice. We have a, we don't have a waist, but what we do have is an upper chest rotation, and it's on a ball joint, so you can get all kinds of like wiggling action. The legs, they go about that far, but it's pretty much exactly what you would want. Going forward, again, a little bit limited because of the sculpt. Same with, well, no, going back, you can do it all the way. We have a knee to 90 degrees, and because the knee is, while he doesn't have ankles, because the knee is on like a floating ball joint, I guess we'll call it, you can still get his feet flat-footed for a lot of poses. The guy stands like a champ. Honestly, articulation 10. But for me, the whole reason I have this guy is for this. This is my current iteration of the 13 in progress. We have a KO, basically, that was terrible, that I call Sad Nexus Prime. I looked at Sad Nexus Prime back in episode 659. Next to him we have The Fallen. Now, I have something kind of in the works for an alternate version of The Fallen, and I've learned that the body type used in Revenge of the Fallen, like this one that is from the films that most people know as The Fallen, is a body type that's more closely associated actually with Amalgamous Prime. So my plan is to do some custom work and turn this version of The Fallen possibly into Amalgamous Prime. We'll see how that goes. I looked at him in episode 29, a long time ago. Next to him we have Vector Prime. This is the 2008 Universe version of Vector Prime, and Starscream White provided him to me. We looked at him in episode 406. Love him. I think it's the best use, but I don't like the lights and sound gimmick. I don't like this look for him, but I mean, that's kind of subjective, right? Still a great mold, though. Then we have, next to him, Alpha Trion. And Alpha Trion I looked at a long time ago in episode 190. He also had, I guess, a bit of narration role to play in episode 400 when I looked at the Covenant of Primus, because of course he wrote the thing with the quill, right? As we all know. Who else do we have? That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we have Earthrise, Optimus Prime. Of course, he is 13, if you go by the Covenant of Primus anyway. There is some variation here, naturally. Now I compared the Earthrise and the Siege Optimus Prime with each other in episode 667, and I looked at kind of an updated custom version of Earthrise Optimus Prime in episode 671, man. And I mean, some people would choose someone else instead of Optimus to be 13, though I think it's kind of widely known that, you know, he is. So that's, well, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have Sound Blaster down at the end, who I have sort of revisioned as Logos Prime, along with Hell Buzzsaw. And I looked at that in episode 633 a while ago now. Excellent mold. Yes, Logos Prime is supposed to be the Cybertron Sound Blaster, but you know what, this will stand in fine. Right now, he is sort of taking the role of the Liege Maximo, because I really don't even know what I could do for Liege Maximo. I love a Liege Maximo. So he's sort of stand-in for Liege Maximo for now. Then we have Alchemist Prime or Maccadam, kind of down front there. Right down in front of him, we have the Titan Master of Micronus, which makes sense. Micronus should be that small. Next to Maccadam, we have a customized version of the Protoform Optimus Prime. However, that mold has been revisioned as Prima. This version of the mold is actually from the Mission to Cybertron 2-pack, where we had the Protoform Optimus and then we had like the deluxe regular truck Optimus. I like this as Prima. If you look at the Covenant of Primus version of Prima, this is pretty much it. And I'm so very thankful to be able to add Salvia Promenade as my Solus Prime. That is all thanks to Razor Bear, and I looked at her not long ago in episode 762, and kind of all of her modes. I really love her. So right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 versions of the mold, or 10 versions of the primes. Conspicuous by their absence at this time would be Amalgamus, which I might be working on something to add, as well as Quintus, which I have an idea for a custom for that. There's a plan that I have in mind as of this recording that I want to do to turn the Quintus on that comes in the Cybertron 3-pack, Cyberverse 3-pack into a version of Quintus, because the face of death from that looks very much like Quintus's face. So I'm going to revision that a little bit to give us a Quintus. And I'm not even sure who else is missing. The Liege Maximo, 10, is it 10 here? Yeah, 11, Amalgamus, Quintus, the Liege Maximo, though we have Logo standing in. Oh, and Onyx. I don't have a version of Onyx, though I have been thinking about getting a version of, this is going to be out there, Visser 3. If you don't know Visser 3, look up Visser 3. I think that could work as an Onyx. So I'm narrowing and zeroing in a little bit on at least having a version. Now some people will say, hey, this is all over the map. This is all different aesthetics. It is, and that's exactly what I want. This is the original 13. They should, you know, offer some influence to kind of all corners of the Transformers universe. So them kind of being different aesthetics, I think works really well. As for Maccadam himself, he's great. I mean, I wouldn't want to overspend on him. The guy doesn't transform. He's basically an action master, but he is, bar none, hands down, the best action master we've ever had. And here we are once again, and here he is, and yeah, okay, so in terms of the paint apps, it's good enough, it's fine. Fine. Obviously the transformation is 0, though I did come up with a weird little mode where you kind of put his arms out. It's sort of like dealing with action masters, like they never had modes, but in my mind I always came up with some way to move the limbs and whatnot to sort of mimic kinda, sorta, some sort of... You have to use your imagination, as you do here. But, that being said, even if he doesn't transform, I don't care, because I don't think Alchemist Prime had the ability to transform anyway. It'd be cool if he could. If we ever get, like, a better version of him, I probably will be in for it. But if we don't, then I'll be really, really glad to have this guy. Really glad. He is a bit smaller than I would certainly like. There's no doubt about it. But again, I think he fits in with the lineup great. I mean, the lineup has influences from all corners of the franchise, which I'm cool with, because the original 13 probably should influence all corners of the franchise. For what he is, I think he's great, but he's definitely not going to be for everyone. Let me know what you think about Maccadam, or Alchemist Prime, if you will. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link, check us out on Patreon, see what we offer to you through Teespring. Of course, hit the join button, become a channel member right here on YouTube. While you're at it, hit the subscribe button, stick around, have some fun with us. We do a lot around here. Don't forget that somehow, some way, man, each and every single day, you do make a difference. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights, at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way, right here inside the videos.